The strength of this Raiders team is definitely the offense. How can they build off the success that they had on Sunday versus the Patriots this week against the Chargers and throughout the course of the season? That plus more on Wednesday's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast for September 10th, 2025.
You are Locked On Raiders, your daily Las Vegas Raiders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen of the day. We definitely appreciate you. If you're catching the show wherever you find your favorite podcast or you're checking us out by way of the YouTube page, you know we appreciate both. The show continues to grow each and every day because of your consistent support and the great job that my man Ari does behind the scenes, making sure we look good and sound good each and every day. So we shout him out. We appreciate him. He's on Twitter at Ari Produces. You can hit me up as well at your boy Q254. And if you want to be a part of the show, as many of you do, we got the Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line at 707-654-4693. A lot of great feedback, calls, texts, all kind of good feedback about a bunch of different subjects. We'll close out the show in segment number 3, hearing from you. Segment number 2, I'll talk about the importance of Monday's game, right? Not only is it just another game, not only is it an AFC West opponent, a division rival in the Chargers, getting the game at Allegiant Stadium, the season home opener, but there's really a big reason, in my opinion, why this game matters so much on Monday versus the Chargers. So we'll talk about that coming up in segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Here in segment number 1, usually news and notes of the day, and we'll just talk about Chip Kelly's offense and how to build off the success that they had on Sunday versus the Patriots. We'll jump into that after I tell you about the title sponsor of the show, and that's FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So let's jump into this Chip Kelly offense. I was scrolling around ESPN.com looking at a few things and came across an article about new play callers in the National Football League, and obviously Chip Kelly with the Raiders is a new play caller in the league. So what Ryan McFadden from ESPN had to say about Chip Kelly and his offense, broke it down from experience, what to know, and key stat. Experience. Kelly returns to the NFL after helping Ohio State win a national title as an offensive coordinator in 2024. He previously served as the head coach for the Eagles from 2013 to 15 and the 49ers in 2016. What to know? This is some good stuff right here, again, from Ryan McFadden. Kelly's time away from the NFL taught him to adapt. I think that that's such a key line right there, because most people, when they think Chip Kelly, and I know we've seen one game, everyone thinks go, 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 super fast tempo. That's not what he is now. So he says during his time with Philly, Kelly was known for his up-tempo, high-scoring offenses. The Eagles ranked 3rd in points, 26.9, in the 3 seasons he was with the team. Even when he was at Oregon from 2009 to 12, the Ducks were 1st in the nation in points per game, 44.7, and 11th in plays per game at 75.1. But this is where it all changes. At Ohio State, Kelly orchestrated an efficient offense despite slowing down the pace. The Buckeyes ranked 14th in points at 35.6, but they were 120th in plays per game at just 61.8, which is obviously a huge drop-off from 75.1 when he was at Oregon, and 18th in time of possession per play, 29.4 seconds. The key stat, Kelly's offense is consistently ranked in the top 10 in play action usage during his previous stints in the NFL, 2nd from 2013 to 2015 with the Eagles at 28% and 6th in 2016 with the 49ers at 24%. That's according to ESPN research, which leads me exactly to the road I wanted to go down when it comes to how do you build off the success that the Raiders and Chip Kelly had offensively on Sunday versus the Patriots. And I think it goes back to what we were promised last year when the Raiders drafted Brock Bowers, but we never saw it. And that's good old 12 personnel, right? 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and a running back. And I won't, be exclusive with 12 personnel. I think that there is a slight occasion where you'll even see 13 personnel where you have 3 tight ends on the field. But let's focus in on the 12 personnel, because I do think that's how the Raiders are going to butter their bread throughout the course of the season. I really do. You're going to see Brock Bowers. You're going to see Big Mike, right? You saw, obviously, that work on Sunday. And we heard so much about it right after the Raiders drafted Brock Bowers. 12 personnel, going to live in that. And we never got to see it for one reason or the other. Play action, going back to that key stat that Ryan McFadden had, right? Kelly's offense is consistently ranked in the top 10 in play action usage. I think they're going to rank in the top 10 again. Look how good and effective play action was for the Raiders on Sunday against the Patriots. And you know what the Raiders didn't have on Sunday versus the Patriots? A really good run game. They didn't have a good run game. They ran the rock for 58 yards, and Genty had 38 yards of those on 19 carries. But his presence out there made play action pass work to the point where Geno was able to throw the ball around the yard. It was very effective, right? And spread the ball around. And obviously the Raiders get the W. Geno throws for over 360 yards. A lot of that came off of play action, even though the run game wasn't working. So if the run game starts cooking and becomes a real threat, and Genty becomes the Ashton Genty that we all believe he can be, then really there's a great opportunity for this 12 personnel to really be put to the mix. There's so many different things that you can do out of 12 personnel, right? You can run, obviously. Play action is more effective. Versatility is there. The defensive challenges makes it, hard for defenses to make a decision on what they're going to key in on. Are they going to try to load up the box and stop the run? Are they going to try to sell out, right? Like you saw the Patriots do, and then all of a sudden they get sucked up and you beat them over the top? Or are they going to try to play pass coverage, right? I mean, those are obviously the disadvantages that the defense has when you're using 12 personnel and you're using it effectively. That's the biggest thing, right? Run pass balance, play action effectiveness, versatility, mismatches. That's all lined up when it comes to 12 personnel. You saw 12 personnel in the second half of the game on Sunday, and you saw it really effectively as blocking as well. When the Patriots were able to get home and get to Geno Smith and really put pressure on him, right? You thought, okay, well, he's not going to have time to throw the ball. Well, you saw the adjustments where the Raiders went 12 personnel, but they used Big Mike to block a lot. Or they brought in Ian Thomas as in the 12 personnel and had him blocking as well. Like my guy Kirk Morrison said, he said, hey, I'd give him a helmet decal for the great job he did blocking. That's also a strength of Ian Thomas. That's a strength of Big Mike now as well. So those guys can effectively do that. There was times you saw Big Mike line up in the backfield as a fullback ahead of Ashton Genty. That's just another blocker. And at the same time, you can't just key in on him and say, well, he's just blocking for Genty, because he could pop out and catch a pass. As we saw in that, 4th and 1 play that went for 4 or 5 yards that kept the drive going that the Raiders needed to have, right? Those are the kind of advantages. I think the Raiders are going to live in a world of 12 personnel. And honestly, with the strength of that Raiders offense being their tight end room, I think they should, right? Why wouldn't you use them? Chip Kelly told us this back in, OTAs and mandatory minicamp, right? There's no rule in the book says I can't use 2 tight ends. Hell, there's no rule in the book I can't use 3, right? That's the good thing about having Chip Kelly. He sees what is working. He sees how the defense is playing him and how he could take advantage of it. And I think if you use the Raiders' strength, which again is a tight end room, a very accurate quarterback, and a solid run game with Ashton Genty, Zamir White, and Raheem Mostert, and Mostert wasn't even active on Sunday, I think you have a chance to succeed. But when you have Genty out there, again, even as a decoy, the play action pass worked. So I think that you're going to get this game on Monday against the Chargers, who, oh, by the way, live in that 12 personnel as well. They also are a team on paper who's going to run the hell out of the ball, just like the Raiders are going to do. But you go back and look at what they did against the Chiefs on Friday night. They weren't really effective running the ball. They didn't run for 100 yards. They didn't run it all over the field. What they did is they threw the rock. Justin Herbert threw for about 9 yards a pop. Like every time he had a completion, it was averaging almost 10 yards, almost a first down every time he completed a pass, right? And the Chiefs didn't have an answer for him. So what Jim Harbaugh did is evolve his offense, make sure that they went into that game against Kansas City, not with the same old cookie cutter game plan that they normally have, where it's run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Oh, by the way, put a governor on Justin Herbert. No, he let it rip. And that's what's going to make this game so difficult for the Raiders on Monday. It's going to really be, the ultimate chess match, right? I mean, it's going to be, I think, a feeling out process early on. How are the Chargers going to try to attack the Raiders defensively? And how are the Raiders going to try to attack the Chargers defensively, right? How is that going to, match up with each other? And are we going to see a very high-scoring game? It's a good chance that we do. We know that styles create fights, and I think this is going to be an absolute dogfight coming out on a Monday night. Obviously, we'll get into keys to victory later on. Tomorrow, we'll have the crossover edition. So Locked On Chargers, Locked On Raiders will come together. We'll talk about, the biggest storylines. We'll talk about, the matchups, and we'll talk about keys to victory, path to victory. So we'll get that all coming up on tomorrow's show. But I think that 12 personnel is how the Raiders are going to build off that success that they had on Sunday, right? Again, it was kind of a feeling out process in the first half until the Raiders figured things out. And once they figured things out, you saw them have a really effective offensive game plan and offensive scheme. That's how I'm looking at this team. We were promised 12 personnel last year. We're going to get 12 personnel this year. So why is this game so important coming up on Monday? It's only the second game of the season. It is an AFC West division rival in the Chargers, but I'll break down the huge importance of this game coming up in segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about a couple great sponsors here on the show, including the title sponsor, which is FanDuel. The NFL season is here, already going into week 2. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Right now, the Chargers, 3.5-point favorites against the Raiders at Allegiant. The Raiders, home dogs. So think about that as you think about this game coming up on Monday. But folks use FanDuel because, well, however you like to bet, they've got it covered. Player props, building a same-game parlay, even jumping in live as the action unfolds. They make it super exciting, super fun, and easy. You can even keep an eye on your fantasy lineup. So, again, quick, easy, best way to add a little more energy to Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays. So if you're ready to play, which I know you are, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. I also want to tell you about Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep by tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items for the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, don't worry, Supply House has next-day delivery. You can get a game changer just like that. The part finder tools and 3D schematics can save your hours on jobs wherever details matter. Their trademark perks, like priority shipping and dedicated support, make the whole process smooth. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free. Use the promo code SHNFL5. SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. One more time for the folks in the back row. That promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. All right, Raider Nation, here we go. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Getting excited about this Monday night football game. Of course, tomorrow on the show, we'll have a full breakdown of Chargers Raiders with the crossover edition. David Drogemeyer and company will be breaking it down from the Chargers side of things. Of course, I'll be representing from the Raiders side of things. But this game is very important, right? I'll give you my keys to victory coming up probably on Monday since it's a Monday night football game. But we got those on the way as well. But this game is so important for so many reasons for the Raiders. They started out great, 1-0 with a victory on the road against the New England Patriots. So we've talked about this throughout the course of the offseason. How are the Raiders going to deal with adversity? How are the Raiders going to deal with success? The Raiders have not dealt with success very well. Last year, obviously, they didn't have a whole lot of success. They only won 4 games. But they did get a victory, a huge victory, week 2 against the Baltimore Ravens on the road last year, and then had an opportunity to come home taking on the Carolina Panthers, who were terrible in week 3, and they got carved up by Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton went into Allegiant Stadium, and he looked like a hot knife sliding through butter. It was super easy. They went down there, beat the brakes off the Raiders, and there was no questions asked. So we've talked about it throughout the course of the offseason. How does Pete Carroll, as the chiseled veteran, as the coach that's been there, done that, has proven success, has the resume, has the proof of concept, how does he stop from the Raiders having a letdown? Right? You can have a big victory, and that's fantastic. And we'll celebrate it. We'll hand out game balls. We'll talk about what the offense is going to look like, how they build off of it. We can do all that good stuff. But if the Raiders don't go out and actually build off of what they did and show that they can consistently be that team and show how to win games and that they're really a consistent opponent, all that's going to mean nothing. It's going to be, all right, that was a nice game 1. Oh, the Patriots stunk, and the Raiders actually played a team that's good, and they got beat, right? That's what the narrative will be if the Raiders no-show this game coming up on Monday. They have an opportunity to show themselves who they really are, their coach who they really are, their GM who they really are, but more importantly, they have a chance to show Raider Nation who they really are, right? There's been plenty of conversation, plenty of speculation. There were some folks in Raider Nation, you know who you are, that were tweeting at me before even halftime on Sunday. Same old Raiders. This team ain't serious. What, this is what you were all hyped about? What is this? You know, like, I could show you the receipts, right? And I get it. It's frustration. So Raider Nation needs proof, right? You need proof of concept of who this team is going to be. The Chargers that they're playing are not the Patriots. The Patriots were also a team that won 4 games a year ago. So clearly they're a team just like the Raiders that are trying to build. That's why leading up to that game, I kept saying, man, this one is so evenly matched. There's so many, parallels and things that look the same between these two teams. Well, I look at this Chargers team coming in, and I don't see a lot of similarities outside of the way that they played their game on Friday against the Chiefs. I feel like the Raiders somewhat did the same thing, but in the second half. And that's going to be one of the biggest keys in this game. The Raiders have to go out and show that they could play 4 quarters. Yeah, it's great to make adjustments. We're going to celebrate that. Hey, the Raiders made adjustments. They made some halftime adjustments. They made some third quarter adjustments. They made some personnel and protection adjustments. That's great. We want to see that. It's something that we hadn't seen. But can they play a 4-quarter game? Can they come out of the box looking really good? Can they come out showing that, hey, this team is ready to compete and take down an opponent that many people believe had a chance to win the AFC West? And again, I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to win the AFC West. Even if they win this game on Monday, I'm not saying that they're going to win the AFC West. But it's proof of concept. It's show me, right? Like I used to tell my mom all the time, show me, man. Act like I'm from Missouri, the show me state. Show me, man. I used to have fun saying that. Well, that's what Raider Nation is saying to this team. Show me, right? We saw it on Sunday. And shout out to all the Raider Nation that was there in New England, in Foxborough, at Gillette Stadium to watch it in person. You represented. You showed the Raiders what Raider Nation's all about. Even the newcomers, the rookies, the youngsters, right? New free agents to the team. They know what Raider Nation's all about. But can the Raiders now, can they reciprocate that? Can they show that love back and reward you for taking your time out, spending your hard-earned money, going to Allegiant Stadium, right? Doing all that. They asking to black out the stadium. Okay, I guarantee Raider Nation is going to do that. I think last I checked, about 86% is estimated Raider fans going to be there on Monday night. That's pretty stinking good. I've been going to Allegiant Stadium now for 4 years, right? Since I've been here since 2021. And there's not too many times I could say 86% of the stadium is Raider fans. That's what is expected as of, Tuesday night? And so that only has an opportunity to get better. But you can't get a season opener. You can't win that one against the Patriots and then go lay an egg at home. And look, there's a chance that the Raiders lose this game, right? They're 3.5-point underdogs for a reason. They could lose this game. But if they battle it out, if they compete, what Pete Carroll says, they play good, sound, fundamental football, they don't shoot themselves in the foot, they don't have 15-yard penalties along the sideline unnecessarily, right? They don't fumble, they don't, throw interceptions into triple coverage. And look, I get it. Geno Smith is a gunslinger. He believes in what he can do. And so there's going to be times where we're all going to say, whoa, man, I don't know about that one. But probably more times than not, he's going to get that ball in there. But if they go out there and they play a sound, solid game, they compete for 4 quarters, and it goes down to the wire, and they end up losing it, I can walk out of Allegiant Stadium late on Monday night and have my head up high. But if they go out there and they get slapped in the mouth, right, not even closed-fisted, but slapped in the mouth, then there's a problem, right? So I don't want to be like Debbie Downer. I don't want to be the guy that brings down the mood in the room, but it's about consistency. And I say it all the time, right? I don't need the Raiders to be a 10 and then revert back to a 3, right? Tell me who you're going to be consistently as a team. What are you going to be? I'm not expecting you to be a 10, in all season long, right? I mean, they're building, right? There's a reason I picked them to win 8 to 9 games. But they can, more importantly, build confidence in themselves by going out there and putting on a really good show in front of their home crowd. And if they win it, they mess around and win it, and they start out 2-0 on the season, then they're going to feel like, you know what? Everything that Coach Carroll's been telling us, everything that Patrick Graham's been telling us, everything that, we've been learning from Chip Kelly is all facts. But the defense, they're going to get tested early. They're going to get tested often. I've been a guy that's been very critical of Justin Herbert, not because he doesn't have talent. He is very talented, but because he hasn't won big games. Well, this is going to be a big game, and I know it's a regular season game. He was very successful last year in the regular season, but he looked like he came out with a different mindset on Friday against the Chiefs. Almost like, hey, I hear all the conversations about what I haven't done. Let me show you what I'm going to do, right? And so that's going to be an early test for this defense. And guys like Caillou Blue Kelly, guys like Eric Stokes, guys like the linebacking core that we don't know if E-Rob's going to be out there or not. They're going to get tested, right? Isaiah Polamau, can he come up with another interception? Jeremy Chin, what about you, right? Who's going to be making the big plays? This game is huge, right? The style that is played is going to be huge. Raiders have to go out there and show that they're not same old Raiders that a lot of people believe, including some of Raider Nation, because, well, they've just been burned too many times. Go out there, show and prove. My guy P.E. in North Carolina always says it. Q, it's time to show and prove. It's time to stop talking. It's time to go out there and show and prove. All right. Well, Raiders, go out there and show and prove on Monday and let Raider Nation know. Let the NFL know. Let your head coach know. Let your teammates in that locker room know who you are. They can depend on you, and you're going to be that tough out each and every week along the course of season of the 2025 year, right? You're going to be that tough out. Whenever you see the Raiders on the schedule, that's not an easy dub. That's not write that one in because that's a dub. No, you're going to have to work for it. Scratch, claw, bleed to get that dub. That's why this game is so important. So that's what I got for you for segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Coming up in segment number 3, your calls and texts will close us out. 707-654-4693. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about another great sponsor here on the show, and that is Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride. More IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. That's as of August of 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda, well, they bring the same intention to how they craft every single model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every single detail, from the metallic accents to available leather upholstery. All the fantastic leather upholstery. You're going to love it the minute you feel it. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you could drive with confidence through almost any season. Like the Raiders, the Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Here we go, Raider Nation. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Your calls and texts will close out the show. 707-654-4693. Let's get so international on them. Let's go out to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Marcos, he's calling in to ask about the Raiders, the NFL in Brazil, and a lot more. Again, going out to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Here's Marcos.
What's up, Q? Here's Marcos from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Yeah, I'm here in Brazil, man, and I just wanted you to know that you have a bunch of listeners here in Brazil. You have a bunch of fans that listen to the show, and we are so fired up that the NFL is now here in Brazil, man, and I couldn't be more happy, you know. I'm a Raiders fan since 2017. A friend of mine actually watched it for a long time now, and in 2016 Derek Carr put it up some numbers, and I was looking for some team in California because my sister lives in there, and I just happened to watch the history of the Raiders, the colors, the uniform, the players, and most important, man, the fans. And I fell in love for the team, you know. The team didn't start very well on the first and the following seasons for me, but once a Raider, always a Raider. So I kept with the team, and here I am. I'm a new booty. I'm a new caller here for the show, but I hear your show since John Gruden's time, you know, since 2018. So since those 3 picks on the first round. I just wanted to thank you, man, for these years. My English got so much better, you know. I listen very well from a certain time, but I didn't speak any of English. So you helped me a lot on that as well, Q. And so thank you so much for being this guy that you are, always sharing your thoughts on the game. Pretty much it, man. And let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think on this Brazil, on this internationality that the NFL is going? You know, I'm hearing some rumors that there will be possibly one more game for each team, so 18 weeks on the NFL, and it might be 2 games here in 2 games here in Brazil, maybe one in Rio, one in São Paulo. I mean, only rumors, but I believe that's the direction that the NFL wants to go. To be worldwide, man. And Brazil has the third most fan base on the world, only behind the America, of course, and Mexico. So we are here. We are very much excited, and I hope the Raiders can play here in Brazil one day. And yeah, let's go Raider Nation. Raiders. Marcos out.
My man, thanks so much for the call. Welcome to the show as far as a caller. That's awesome. We truly are international. I take a lot of pride in that. The Raiders are worldwide, as we know. There's no doubt sooner rather than later there's going to be 18 games in a season. We knew that the minute that they approved 17 games. Well, the inevitable is 18 games, right? There'll be more and more international games, and I have no doubt in my mind that Brazil will be a heavy hitter. It's 2 years in a row that the Raiders have had, or not the Raiders, but the NFL has had games in Brazil. They're going to continue to have games in Brazil, having really good showings, good outcomes. I know last year the field conditions weren't great, but this year everything went off without a hitch. So there's no doubt about it. The NFL is alive and well and thriving in Brazil. Thanks so much for the call, man. Fantastic stuff. Definitely appreciate hearing from you, and great that you've been rocking with the show as long as you have. Up next, got a text from 60s Era Raider. So what's up, Q? 60s Era Raider in the 603 here. I hope that the Raiders don't take the mean out of JPJ. I know that I'll be showing my age, but back in the day, we never minded the Raiders getting unnecessary roughness penalties. It was baked into the game plan, and the Raiders were penalized plenty. Their offense was strong enough and built to overcome the penalties. The benefit, teams feared playing the silver and black. Maybe some kind of balance could be found to take smart roughness penalties, or it could be that things are just different now. On another front, if the Raiders can get the ground game going with their ability to go vertical, they may be able to return to their old ways. I'm plenty happy with the first game, even with all the work left to be done. That's a 60s Era Raider. Thanks for the text. I appreciate you. And yeah, look, the thing is, nobody's going to fear the Raiders like they did back in the day, right? When you went over the middle and you didn't know if you were going to get back up, right? You were going to get drilled and you didn't know what's going to happen. Football's just not played like that anymore, right? Nobody's going to play with fear like that. They're just not. And, as far as taking 15-yard penalties, like JPJ had that silly one along the sideline, this Raiders team is not good enough yet to be able to overcome that, right? We saw, and very rarely are teams good enough to overcome that. Now, unfortunately for the Raiders, a lot of times it's been, 2nd and 20, 1st and 20, 3rd and 18, and they still give up the first down, which is, unacceptable. They've got to clean that up. But most of the time, teams don't overcome those kind of penalties. So JPJ's got to be a lot smarter, right? Lincoln says it all the time. You got to play to the whistle, not through the whistle, right? And the unfortunate part, and Max had this issue early in his career as well, a lot of times because of the late hits and the style that he played, his number was basically like a red number on his jersey where officials started looking for it. Right. And I think that JPJ is starting to get that reputation. So he's got to be really careful because you don't want to you got to play smart. Yes, you want to play hard. Yes, you want to be, I guess, intimidating. Again, the NFL is not really like that anymore. It's very safe as opposed to what it was back in the day. But they cannot play reckless. They cannot play undisciplined. You got to play better ball than that. They will get the vertical game going. There's no doubt about that. So you can get that part back. But they've got to be smart about what they do. There's just no two ways about it. So thanks so much for the text. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, got a call from L from Canada. He's calling for a few reasons, including wide receiver Jacoby Myers and his contract situation. Here's a call from Canada from L.
Hello, Q. L from Canada here. I just want to start the conversation, or I just want to say, hey, Jacoby, get the job done, Spy Tech. I mean, even if you just got to start negotiating, like, I'm sure you could start with a 2-year extension with $30 million in new guaranteed money to just start the negotiation. Jacoby's going to be in the league until he's at least 35 because he does way more things than just catch the ball. I love him. I know he's a great teammate. He's fantastic in every way. I mean, pay the man. Get it done. The second thing I want to say is, you giving the game ball to Geno. Absolutely agree here. He's a great quarterback, but much more so, he's really a true leader. And you can just see that. He's just so calm, focused, confident. It's all the right things you want. And he wants to win. I mean, and finally we have a guy opposite of Max, Geno Smith. is the man. Lastly, Michael Mayer, I noticed you and a few other people that are in the know have been talking about him. And from what I'm seeing, he really is coming into his own. And I think he's actually really awesome. He came up with some big plays in that game, and you always see him like it's hard to tackle. I mean, he's got so many good things about him. But I do want to ask you to see if you can help find a better nickname for him than Big Mike. I mean, Big Mike is just so vanilla. The dude is literally a freaking gorilla. You can't, there's no angles on him. He doesn't look thick and just beastly, which is crazy because his hands are soft as silk pillows. I personally like the Hulk because Hulk smash, and so does he every time the ball snapped. Anyways, love your show, Q. Have a good one. Cheers.
Big L, thanks for the call. Appreciate you. And yeah, I mean, look, I think we all know where it comes, where I go when it comes to Jacoby Myers, right? I'm all in on paying him. I don't care if it's a 2-year deal. You give him $40 million, $35 million, whatever the case may be. I think he's earned his money. That's just me. And he's got strong leadership. Geno Smith, as you pointed out, has strong leadership as well. That's one of the things he has a lot of pride in. I could tell by talking to him at the facility how much pride he has in his leadership skills. Big Mike, I'm happy he had a good game. I look forward to him having a big season. And, when it comes to renaming him, I'm not going to rename him. Right, he was Big Mike back at Notre Dame. He was Big Mike. Everyone was calling him that last year. AP was talking about Big Mike a lot. That's just kind of who he is. So maybe you could rename him. Maybe he'll get a new name. Maybe someone in the locker room will rename him. But that's not my job. That's not my job. Like I said, he was Big Mike at Notre Dame before he arrived with the Raiders. So I'm going to go ahead and call him Big Mike. His teammates at Notre Dame called him Big Mike. I'm going to call him Big Mike. But thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. Up next, got a short text from Ohio Raider. Q, as always, thanks for all that you do for the nation. Much love to you. Just a quick observation. JPJ is going to have to learn to make better decisions. He continues to get dumb penalties. He's going to cost us a game if he continues to make dumb decisions. Love the aggression, but please play smarter. Go Raiders. That's Ohio Raider from the 419. Going back to the text from 60 Era's Raider. Yeah, that's the point. Got to make smart decisions, right? The Raiders cannot be, they cannot afford to be making mistakes like that and getting 15-yard penalties for silliness, right? I mean, that 15-yard penalty along the sideline, that was totally unnecessary. There's no reason for it. Jacoby was going out of bounds. There was no reason to go, peel back the defender for New England. That's just setting yourself up for failure right in front of the official on top of that. So now it's not Jalen Carter spit on on the quarterback type stuff like he did in front of an official, but still, JPJ is known to be that guy that's playing through the whistle, jumping on top of piles. He got 14 penalties last year. Can't be that guy that leads the team in penalties again. Thanks so much for the text. Definitely appreciate you. Just got time for a couple more. This quick call comes from Apple Valley Raider. He's calling to talk about the old intro that we had on the show back in the day, and he's got a suggestion. Here he is, Apple Valley Raider.
Yo, Q. Hey, good win. Hey, I'll be real quick. This call, Apple Valley Raider. Hey, I know Raider Nation would love to hear the old autumn win. Here's an idea, Q. At the end of the show, when they win, just play autumn wins for us. Reward those that have watched the whole show, the whole YouTube. That's a good way to do it. And I think that's the best way. Ask Raider Nation what they think. Hey, and also QA, I'm going to the Bears game with the Raiders, so hope to meet you for the first time. All right, Q, you have a good one.
AV, Apple Valley, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. And it's not a bad idea. The problem is that we're really strapped for time. And what I mean by that, and I said that this show was going to, take on another role starting on the 22nd of this month here locally, Fox 5. They're going to start airing this show, the YouTube version of the show, on TV, which is great, right? It's the Silver State Sports Network. That's awesome, right? It's just more exposure. It's great. We'll see an increase in eyeballs on the show. The problem is the show has to be 28 minutes long. It has to be. So either I got to do something and cut the show back to only 28 minutes, or Ari's going to have to edit the YouTube to make it 28 minutes. And I mean, look at the time right now. Look how far we've gone. we're past 28 minutes, right? So if I go and put that intro on, even on the outro, it's going to be too long to actually play it, right? Because that's the thing. The intro was like a minute and something long. So we're taking valuable time. So that's the problem. But it's exciting news that this show is going to be on TV as well. But again, that comes with a cost because, as you know, most TV shows are 30 minutes. So we get 28 minutes of their time on Fox 5 here locally in Las Vegas. So thanks so much for the call and the suggestion. Definitely appreciate you. We'll figure out something. At some point, we'll figure out some way to get it into the show, at least for a show or two here and there. We'll close things out with a text from Cali, Kansas Raider. He says, Yo, Q, it's Cali, Kansas Raider here, and first-time texting, long-time listener. I feel like we won't make any more big splashes this season because Spytek is a draft and build guy, which isn't a bad thing. If we are content with what we have for right now, my question is this. Do you believe we are a few key players away from strong playoff contention? And if so, what positions and what players would you aim for? Perhaps by the trade deadline. Thanks for keeping us all on point with the news and love the show. That's Cali, Kansas Raider. Thanks for the text. I appreciate you. Yeah, I don't see the Raiders making a big splash either. I don't think that they're in a position where they think that this year they're one big player, one big splash away from that deep playoff run. You're absolutely spot on when you say John Spytek wants to draft and develop. That's what he wants to do. I don't even think that he was a big fan of going out and getting a guy like Amari Cooper. I think he was really content, as he said, when he had his press conference not too long ago, I'm good with playing the young guys, but I understand the position of the head coach, right? But as a GM, I want to play the young guys, and I want them to develop. And that's what they did. Similar recipe there in Tampa Bay. So, yeah, he doesn't want to give up his draft capital. He wants to get as much talent as possible, add it to the mix, get them coached up and playing at a high level, and you're starting to see it already. I mean, how many rookies were out there that contributed on Sunday? Jack Besh had a catch. Dante Thornton had a couple catches. Obviously, Ashton Genty was running the rock as well. Caillou Blue Kelly's not a rookie, but he got his first career start, right? I mean, Darian Porter was playing on special teams, right? I mean, you're seeing guys, you're seeing guys like Tonka Hemingway, JJ Pegues. I don't know. I can't remember which one it was, but they got in a couple reps defensively. But that's the thing, man. They're going to play as many young dudes as possible. Tommy Eichenberg, he's not a rookie, but he's a young dude. He filled in for Landon Roberts. They want to play the young guys. They definitely want to get the young guys in. So thanks so much for the text. I appreciate you. And, yeah, I wouldn't expect any big splashes near the trade deadline. Matter of fact, I'm hoping that the Raiders are playing really well and they don't have any thoughts of trading any veterans to someone else in order to get more draft capital. That's what I'm hoping for, that they don't do that. I'm hoping that they're playing at a really high level. So thanks for the text. Definitely appreciate you. That's going to do it for today's show. Great calls, great texts. We'll have more of those. Not tomorrow. We'll have more of those on Friday as we close out the week really strong. Tomorrow, crossover Thursday, right? We'll get a full breakdown of the Chargers, full breakdown of the Raiders, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. David Drogemeyer, he'll join the show. Daniel Wade, they host the Locked On Chargers. Of course, I'll rock it for the Raiders, and we'll have that coming up tomorrow. So until then, Raider Nation, take care of yourself, take care of your family, love on your family. Most importantly, as always, just win, baby.